Welcome, Ryu Hayabusa. Sorry if I startled you. We are from the CIA Special Auxiliary Unit. My name's Agent Foster. Getting right to the point... Wait. I want to know why you killed Smith. We didn't kill him, but we'll fill you in on what we know. In the upper reaches of the Amazon, some ancient ruins were discovered. It seems the temple was built more than 2,000 years ago. The discoverer was Dr. Smith, who studied the ruins for some time. But one day, he suddenly sealed off the ruins. And ever since then, no one has gone close. Later, however, a man moved in and took over the ruins. His name is Guardia de Mew. He calls himself the Jakio. According to our records, it seems that the temple is not where gods are worshipped, but was built to imprison the body of the demon. Therefore, evil spirits are supposed to be held in the statue you have. Dr. Smith probably already knew that. He was probably killed by someone working for the Jakio. When a black moon shines, light and dark break apart. The King of Darkness howls. These were the last words written on the stone tablets. If someone brings the demon back to life, he'll gain incredible power. Enough to control the entire world. So you know about that? The woman who shot you in the bar was one of our agents. They're after you. Use this and go to their headquarters. Get the demon statue back from them. Of course, you will be paid for the work. If I say no, you know the answer to that. 3 minutes of cutscenes and a bad Agent Smith impression later. Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Ninja Gaiden. The last part we started off the game, and now we're already over halfway through it, actually. There are 6 stages in the game, even though I technically consider there to be 7. And stage 4 is where we start heading towards the climax, actually. This first section here has some annoyances, namely the fact that there's bottomless pits everywhere, and the fact we start not only getting birds again, we also start encountering bats, which are birds that fly along a singular wavy path. Basically, they're smaller Medusa heads from Castlevania, actually, is a good way to summarize them. There's going to be a lot of them, and they have a tendency to do something that the birds do as well, and that's spawn constantly. Even if their spawn point is on screen, if it's not entirely off the corner, it will continuously spawn. Thankfully, the bats still aren't the most annoying thing. The birds are still the most, just due to their movement ratio. That's not the right word. Radius, there we go. First off, everyone's favorite song in the game starts right now, and I absolutely love this track. I forget if it has a name, but I love it. And also, I love the sprite in that cutscene of the ruins in the background. I actually have that on a poster, because I have a Bit Brigade poster in my room. In particular, it has Wily's Castle, the ruins here, and Castlevania itself. And that's just really good sprite work. I'll always give this game credit for the effort it actually puts into its cutscenes for an 8-bit game. Mind you, I'm also a kind of guy who likes to give games their props when they deserve it, even if it's a bad game. Except for Shadow the Hedgehog, that is still the game I'm probably the most negative about in all of history. It's in this stage we also start getting introduced to the other two more annoying enemies in the game. The little pumpkin throwers that throw like little knives. They're not too bad, but if they're positioned weirdly, it can be hard to avoid them. And the green ninjas. The green ninjas, the closest thing I can compare them to are Fleamen from Castlevania. Because they love jumping around. They can be very hard to hit because of it. And it's just not a very fun enemy to fight in mass. Thankfully, there's usually only one or two of them on screen at a time, and one of them will usually off-screen themselves or throw themselves into a pit. Stage 4, though, even though the game has infinite continues, is where I first got walled when I first played the game. Because Stage 4 onwards is where the game continuously spikes its difficulty higher and higher. Because there's usually more pits and more enemies that are dickishly placed to knock you into the pits. And because of that, I got a lot of game overs. Nowadays, I honestly don't find Stage 4 that bad. It's definitely still hard, but it's doable. The only stages that I have consistent issues with are 5 and 6, because 5 and 6 can just be ugh. Now, something that's always been a bit curious to me about Ninja Gaiden is, given the amount of effort it puts into its story, that it never got a movie adaptation. Except for this one anime adaptation I've heard is okay at best. Because, especially with all the other NES games that got movies, like Mario Brothers, Double Dragon, all that, this seems like it'd be the most fitting for a movie, because at its base premise, it's a revenge plot that gets oddly mystical. And I think that could work, and they won't even have to do too much extra writing, because honestly, the story as it is already kind of an 80s B-movie. But that's always been curious to me. Mind you, at the same time, we know how video game movies can be. There are a few good ones every here and there, and those that are enjoyably bad, like Street Fighter, but yeah. Either way, time for our next boss fight, Kerberos, which is supposed to be Kerberos or Cerberus. And this fight is deceptive. There's two monsters to fight, but you can only damage one of them, and it's only ever one of them. And I think it's always the one on the right. So this becomes a game of evasion, trying to not only find the one that you need to damage, but also avoiding not only it, but its companion. This can be actually a very annoying fight if you don't stand beneath the pillars, which is the one place they can never quite go under, especially in the actual corners. But if you just do what I'm doing and hopefully have more health, it's not a very bad fight. Also, you've seen me try to do it multiple times, but I always like to try and climb the walls Mega Man X style whenever I beat a boss. I always fail, though. You have come a long way to bring me the demon statue. Now give it to me. No. Do you know what you're saying? What? Ryu! You coward! No, don't give it to him! Now put down the demon statue on the floor and back up. Nice work. I guess this is goodbye. Have a nice day. Take the girl away. She's going to be a sacrifice. It's mine. Tonight is the night of rebirth, which comes only once every 700 years. This world will soon be mine. I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh over the fact there's just a convenient trapdoor there. Either way, I said stage 4 was hard, but stage 5 is where it honestly starts getting ridiculous. There's a shitload of enemies right after another like that. And it's also the introduction to, I believe, not only, I think just our last 2 enemy types, period. Because we start getting those rolling guys, which are basically almost just straight up flea men who roll around the ground. And we start getting a new type of night enemy that I can barely hit. These guys, I don't even know what to call them. But they throw their sickles, and it's surprisingly hard to dodge because it's such a sudden animation. There's also, as you can see, a lot of bottomless pits underneath small-ass platforms that you can easily get knocked off of by birds. This... I'm not sure what stage took me longer when I first beat the game. It's either stage 5 or 6. But I don't like either of these stages very much. Honestly, the end game of Ninja Gaiden to me is only sort of fun. I'll get more into this during the credits, but if I'm going back to Ninja Gaiden 1, I'm probably only playing the first 3 stages. Ninja Gaiden 2 is the game I go back to play the entirety of. Also, weird little graphical effect that kind of pisses me off. When you fade into a new stage portion like this, your health is full, but it'll immediately go back to the amount it was at, which just gives me all sorts of false hope. It is here, though, that we get probably the worst jump in the game. I forget, I think it's in the next horizontal section, but stage 5 portion 2 is potentially one of the most deadly sections in the game in terms of platforming. We also get a few more of these weird demon guns. I don't know. Also, weird little graphical effect about Ryu in Ninja Gaiden 1. When he's running, he has a little scarf coming off of him, and I think it's even in the act art. But when he's standing still, it's not there at all. They would change that in Ninja Gaiden 2. This jump sucks. You either need to do a triangle jump from the right wall to the left wall onto the platform, or you can go above the screen's programming and just clip through the corner like I do all the time there. That's why I generally, after every boss, try to climb the walls so I can prepare myself for that, because I hate that goddamn jump so much. I think I've only ever done it legitimately once. And never again. No thank you. And now we oddly get a lot of stage 1 enemies. Okay, then. If there is something I can give stages 5 and 6, though, it's that they, for some reason, have flying ninjas on jetpacks. Forgot about those. Yeah, they're surprisingly not that annoying, though. They don't move too fast, and their shurikens only go, I believe, at a set angle from them. But stages 5 and 6 have some of the best music in the game, in my eyes. Or ears, I guess is more accurate. Now, I'm going back for it now, but you don't have to do this. The last candle on these upper platforms is rather important if you're low on lives, because it's an extra life. And you can farm it. If you go back down to the previous screen and then come back up, all of the candles will respawn and you can get that life over and over again. And if the timer runs out, you can just do it again and again. If you go above the screen, though, and come back down to try and do it that way, because it might be faster, the candles do not respawn. Or at least the candle contents don't. I think the candles themselves will. That jump right there sucks. I've only been able to dodge that green guy once, so make sure you have enough left to tank a hit from him. But with that, we're thankfully almost at the end of stage 5. It's also one of the longer stages in the game, aside from the final one, I believe. But thankfully, this is the last screen. I am Mouth. You will never get past me. Then I must defeat you. You are as bold as your father. But he is a much better swordsman. You know my father? Come and fight, young Hayabusa. Okay, now, Molotov is probably the most dickish boss in the game, and the fact his attacks are entirely unavoidable. You just need to go all out and do as much damage to him before he can kill you. It's a Pyrrhic boss, basically. Overall, because of that, no real strategy to it, though. Just go all out. Though, fun fact, this guy's name might be a mistranslation of Bloody Mars, based off the god of war in Roman mythology. You killed my father. Killed? It is true that we fought, but your father is alive. Liar! No, it is not a lie. If you proceed further, you will see him. But it will be the last thing you see. But with that dramatic revelation, I'm going to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we're going to go finish off the game, actually. See you guys then.